Hello, everyone. Ben Bryce here. Today I'm joined with Ryan Edner. We're going to be giving you your morning midday mayhem and looking forward to see what's going on. Finally seeing some movement here today. Seems like these markets have been chopping around, but last night corn and beans were stronger. What were we seeing? What kind of kicked us off?
We may have seen some pre-buying of what turned out to be strong export sales. There's a chance somebody in the overnight market either knew that was coming or could have anticipated that exports would finally bounce, and they did. We had pretty solid sales this morning.
Yeah, there was some. Yeah, the weekly export sales were very strong, especially in those beans. I think that kind of surprised everyone. But that came out at 7:30. Then we had a little cancellation action on those on the wheat market this morning.
Yeah, we had a small cancellation of wheat. I think the weekly sales will more than make up for that because the wheat has had at least solid weekly sales for 6-7 weeks in a row. So I don't think trade's going to get too worked up about that, but it does put a dent in the wheat along with the overseas wheat. That did trade higher again last night, but in the longer trend, that is still grinding lower too. So a little bit of mixed news for wheat. Nothing that's too stressful to the market yet.
Okay, so and that means stressful to the upside or the downside, because really these markets have been grinding lower. We had some purchases last week, or the primitive trade came out last week saying the funds are buying. Is that going to be a trend that's going to continue, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think they'll continue to short cover the wheat. They obviously have quite a few less positions to cover in wheat than they do in corn and beans, so it is a factor. But again, like the overseas wheat offering a little bit of resistance to the downside. You also have that as a little bit of support. So we are still grinding the wheat lower as a whole, but I'd have to say in the big picture, I don't think there's a ton of downside left in that market.
Okay. All right. Now in the beans, right? Everyone, got the complex. We got the bean meal and bean oil. Are we seeing anything in the bean meal that might give this market a little bit of excitement or life to it?
I haven't seen that yet, although there was an interesting thing last night that palm oil went on, or yesterday went on a significant bounce. So I even checked that this morning to see if the bean oil had seen anything from that, and not yet. And if you back up the chart far enough, you say that, palm oil, very strong bounce, exciting. And if it did that a few more days, I think that would spill over to bean oil. So I would see more influence from the bean oil.
All right, so shifting away from beans, but still staying in the grains, we have the WASDE tomorrow. Now, Friday supply and demand reports are always fun, So we got this weekend that comes right after. So with that report, do you think we're seeing a lot of positioning more so today for that report? We are, looking for a continued bounce in the future.
I would say yes. I'd say you are preparing for that report, and not only that, fund short covering last week might have been the beginning of positioning both ahead of that and the acreage at the end of the
right. And with the funds, when they start buying, now this doesn't mean that 1 week of buying means that they're just going to get consecutive weeks of buying, but they tend to turn around pretty quick. And when they buy pretty heavy. They buy a lot. But at the same time, it makes you a little nervous. Is this really? Everyone keeps talking about these lows that are put in, and it's very hard to say that. I think it's a little too early to get too excited about that. But away from the grains, more so in the cattle and hogs. Are we seeing anything in that market today that's a little bit exciting?
Yeah, actually. We'll start off with the fund conversation. We'll continue that in the cattle. 6 weeks of buying. Much slower pace than you're seeing in the grains, but 6 weeks in a row. And there was a sign this morning, a nice volume spike, you could say. Could have been more fun buying, and that goes right along in the last 6 weeks. And also, a little bit before this recording, we got a $2 higher cash rate in Nebraska, 185.50.
Yep.
That's with the way box beef has still been moving up. That's what we would assume. Now, we're not seeing futures react too heavily to that, but we also have to remember April futures are still priced $5 over cash. So cash is playing catch up to the futures.
Got you. All right. Well, with that, I think that's about it. Unless you got anything else you want to mention, anything outside the markets,
No, for now, I think we've wrapped it up.
All right. Well, great. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. Again, our acreage survey is running. We are running that until Wednesday next week. So if you get it, give us a call or fill it out online, and we'll get those numbers to you guys next Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good one.